Hey guys, welcome back to the MC Beauty Brand channel. We talk all things skincare, self-care, and self-confidence. If you are new to my channel, my name is Megan. I am the owner and founder of MC Beauty Brand. MC Beauty Brand is a self-care brand that empowers and equips women to start their journey to self-care. So today I want to talk a little bit about the art of resting. So I'm just going to kind of freestyle it. I learned a lot about resting in my own personal journey to self-care. But I was actually inspired to come out and do this I guess episode. I actually saw a Instagram reel where he kind of did like this skit where it was like God and him having this kind of dialogue about the Sabbath and resting. And he brought up a good point about how in our culture, we're so used to the hustle bustle, like, team no sleep, I gotta work for my, I gotta work hard, no sleep, all this. And it's so true because when I competed and even in my job, I always had this mindset that I needed to work, work, work. And if I wasn't working, I wasn't being productive. And so the art of resting or this idea of rest was just foreign to me because I'm like, if I'm not working, I'm not producing and I'm not productive. So I need to work, right? And so and I didn't understand why I was always so anxious. I didn't understand why it was very hard for me to just sit down somewhere because I wasn't resting. And so, in looking at that Instagram reel, it was just so funny because, God tells us the importance of the Sabbath, the importance of resting. He created the earth and did what he did and rested on the seventh day. And so why is it so hard for us to rest? And it's just so funny how the culture is so different than kingdom, right? And so, when the Lord told me, like, Megan, you need to start incorporating rest into your schedule, I was like, what is that? Rest. So he's like, add take your breaks. Like, so I work from home and I just had this thing where, I just worked all the time, especially when I had a project and I felt like, we had a deadline. I always worked and I never really took breaks. Like my break was like when I was done with work. So I would start work and then when I'm finished, that's it. Right. And so I didn't have any breaks in between. I didn't step away from my desk. And so I had to actually incorporate lunch breaks, incorporate actual breaks into my schedule. And so I started to do that. It was really difficult for me because I'm like, I need to take this call. I need to, text this person back. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I still struggle with that, but I'm getting better. But it was hard for me to take breaks. And I don't understand like why. And so taking breaks. So now, I'm able to kind of just shut it off. And then, I was actually incorporating kind of like breathing exercises because, I dealt with anxiety and I felt like in my spirit was so unsettled. And so I remember the Holy Spirit was like having me breathe in and breathe out. And as I was doing that, I just noticed that like my spirit was so unsettled. Like I felt like I needed to like move around, right? And that's because I was always on the go. I was always just like going and going and going and never really took time to like relax and rest. And so when I tried to do that, it was difficult at first. But then the more I did it, the more like, I just sat down and kind of breathed in and breathed out and just kind of settled my spirit. Like I felt this sense of peace, right? And I just had to keep doing that over and over and over again. But it's difficult when you are always on the go and always rushing or always have something to do. There have been times where, I'm supposed to be resting and I'm thinking about all the things I have to do. Like oh my God, I forgot to send out this email. Oh my God, I need to call this person. And that's not resting because you're still working your mind. It's like you're physically I guess, resting, right? Quote unquote, resting, where you're not doing anything, but in your mind is always working. And so when your mind is always working and always going, are you really resting? And so, I had to learn, the art of peace is rest. The art of peace is also trust. And that's a whole nother deeper thing, God also, or the Holy Spirit also revealed to me that, part of rest too is trusting that the Lord has got your back. The fact that we're feeling like we have to work so hard, we're relying on ourselves. I was relying on, and I still struggle with this. I'm not gonna act like I ain't gonna act like I've got it all together. So I sometimes, I rely on myself and I forget, like, okay, God's going to be the one that opens the door for me. I don't have to work so hard to the point where I'm like super anxious and I'm unable to rest. Like, that's not his goal. That's not his plan. The blessing of the Lord make it rich but add no sorrow. So we shouldn't be working ourselves to death, and so this culture is opposite of that. Work yourself to death and equals success. And the kingdom is all about working smarter, not harder. And so, as I was walking through this process with the Lord, I mean, I learned so much about time blocking. I did a video about time blocking too, of how, you spend 1 hour a day focusing on one task, not multitasking, because multitasking can have you all over the place, right? And so you're not able to focus on the task that you have at hand. And so that's part of working smarter, not harder. Delegating tasks. You don't have to do everything, why don't you delegate? Being able to give yourself more time to do other things, more time like going to the spa, more time like, going on a hike or going on a walk or, different things like that. And so, I will say this, like, the Holy Spirit is a genius. A lot of this stuff, I would have never even thought of myself. I would just kept going because that's what the world says, keep working hard, work hard, and so, and before I even had a relationship with the Lord, like, I was always felt like I had to have this work ethic about me. And there's nothing wrong with work ethic. There's nothing wrong with being, diligent. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that there has to be a balance. And so what we need, or what our culture needs now, is education on the balance. How do we balance, the working hard? How do we balance the rest? Especially now with women, when we have so much going on with our families, we have to balance being a wife, balance being a mom, having a career, having a business, having all these different things. And it's so hard when you are when you don't know the Lord and you're in this hustle bustle culture. And even if you do know the Lord, but you still have that mindset. And so it's time for us to kind of break that mindset, because I do believe that a lot of this is causing a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, because we're not really listening to what the Lord has given us. He said for us to take breaks. He said for us to rest on the Sabbath. He said for us to have, peace. And so I think once we start incorporating that, we'll start seeing some changes in our lives and our inner health and our soul, and just be a little bit more peaceful. So, all right, y'all, that's all I got for today. So hopefully this episode was helpful. These are some tips that I've just learned in my own journey. But tell me, guys, are you guys struggling with having that inner peace? Are you struggling with rest? Is it hard for you to rest? Leave it in the comments. So again, hopefully this episode was helpful, and have a good day. Bye.